everyone, it's Andy here. Today I'm going to be going over my personal summoner build in Roblox Shadovia. So recently, Summoner got a ton of updates and new gears in the game right now, so it's actually quite viable to use when fighting mobs and bosses now. So let's get straight into my build. So first off, for the weapon, I use the Bearer Staff. This is probably the best summoner weapon at the moment. Maxed out, I do about 437.5 magic power, and it's actually pretty good. So basically how it works is that you shoot these little pellets. Now, that's kind of mid damage right there. 376, not good. But the R move, you spam a ton of these, and it does about 1.95k with the current build I'm using, so it's pretty good. But where this build really shines, it's its special ability, which basically summons a bear to actually do damage for you. So this bear actually stacks up a ton of damage, and I think you can also combo on there with that and just do a ton of damage with you and your bear. So yeah, the bear's total does, for the stomp, it does 1.3k, and for the slashes, it does 2.64k, so it is pretty good. And yeah, he can get staggered a bit, but if he does, you can just unequip and re-equip the staff. So yeah, it fixes it. Let's get into my gears. Alright, first off, for the weapon, I use the Bearer Staff. You can get this from the bear boss in the savannah, where you spawn in with the meat chunks that you can buy from that one NPC. It is pretty good, probably the best summoner weapon in the game at the moment. Alright, so for my gear, I use the Dragon Tamer's gear. You can get this from that new boss, and you craft it with some fine silk and some dragon scales, which you can get from the new fire boss in Brimstone. It's pretty good. It gives a ton of summon power, but for this build, you're going to want a ton of summoner power. For summoner, you basically want to have the most summon power, because summon power is basically just extra damage for your summon. It also gives physical damage and 2 summon count. The extra summon count will make the bear larger. That doesn't really matter though. All you really want to care about is the summon power. So yeah, the Dragon Tamer's Curious and the Dragon Tamer's Falls are really good. Next, for my hat, I use the Scary Crow hat. It's a pretty rare drop from the Graveyard Scarecrows, but yeah, this gives a ton of summon power. I guess you could use that one hat from the quest in Brimstone, the gray hat, if you just don't want to grind for the Scary Crow hat, but the Scary Crow hat is a huge amount of summon power, so I recommend using this. For my offhand, I use the Rough Shield. I don't think Armor Pierce really affects their bear's damage, and you're not really going to be doing that much damage with your staff in general. Your bear's literally just going to be carrying you the whole time, so yeah, the extra health and the health regen is nice. For my accessories, I use the Ancient Summoner Grand Scroll. This is a pretty rare drop from chests in the tomb, and it gives a ton of summon power and stamina. So yeah, definitely get this. Although if you don't have this, you can actually use 2 of these totems which are here, or lost idols, and you can actually equip 2. So I can actually equip 2 like that for some reason. It might be a bug, but yeah, if you have the Ancient Summoner Scroll, you should use it. Anyways, next I use the Tiara. I forgot where you get this from, but it gives a ton of summon power. Probably the most summon power out of all these accessories right here, and it gives a whopping 40% extra summon power and 20 health. Yeah, very good. For my last accessory, I use the Lost Idol. You can get this, I believe, from one of those desert camps, and it gives 15% summon power. So yeah, build, you basically summon the bear, it does a ton of damage. You can also spam your little block spam attack, and you can do a ton of damage to your enemy, like that. Look at that. Damage is just easily stacking up, with my bear also carrying. So yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty much all for the build. Thanks for watching, and here's some clips of me destroying some bosses.